All right, moving on to page 3. We have another cone here. So the surface area again for a cone is going to be pi r squared plus pi r L. Okay, we can find the surface area actually without calculating anything. So my radius here is going to be 12, half of 24. So pi 12 squared plus pi times 12. Remember the L is that lateral. It's called the lateral or the slant, which is that slanted part. So that's going to be 20. So I'm going to go over and calculate that. 12 squared is 144. I know that. 12 times 20 gives me 240 pi plus 144. I get 384 pi for my surface area. And don't forget your units. I forgot them up there, which were in centimeters squared. The volume of the cone is a little bit tricky, and the reason for that is I need to know this height right here. Okay, so to do that, I'm going to use Pythagorean theorem. So I have 12 squared plus h squared equals 20 squared. So 144 plus h squared equals 400. Subtract 144. 400 minus 144. Be 256, and I'm going to square root that. And I get 16. So my height is 16. Right, so again, the volume of a cone is base times height, and you have to divide it by 3. My big B is going to be the area of the base, which is going to be 12 squared pi. And my height is now that I know is 16. And I'm going to divide that by 3. So I get 144 pi times 16 divided by 3. When I calculate that, I get 144 times 16, 768 pi. And it's in centimeters cubed now. Right, so again, surface area, it's a formula. Volume, you have to find the perpendicular height and then find the area of your base, multiply it by the height of the cone, and divide it by 3. So I'm going to erase this now so I can have a little room for the one over here. So now this one is actually looks a lot harder than it is. It's the volume of a cylinder with another cylinder cut out of it. Hold on, technical difficulties here. All right, let's finish up this cylinder now. So really we have a cylinder, a big cylinder with a little one that's cut out of it. So there's 2 ways you can do this. I'm going to do it one way first, and then I'll show you another. Why won't you move down? Are you right? No? Okay, I'll show you once I can get it working. All right, everything's back up and running. So now I'm going to show you the cylinder finally. So the first way is to calculate the volume of the big cylinder, so as if it were a solid. So that's going to be base times height. The radius on the big one is 8, so my base area is 64. My height is 16. So I get a total of 1,024 pi for the big cylinder. Okay, and I'm going to find the volume of the small one now, which is still going to be base times height, but the radius on that one is only 4, so the base area is 16 pi times 16, because that's the height. 256. And I'm cutting out that cylinder, so I'm going to subtract it, so I get 768 pi. That's the one way. Both ways are pretty quick, actually. Another method is to say, well, the shape of my base is now this annulus. So I'm going to find my base area by doing the big circle minus the little circle. So again, the radius of the big one is 8, so I get 64 pi. The radius of the little one is 4. I'm going to subtract out that to get 16 pi. My base area is 48 pi. So that's like my big B. And now I'm going to multiply that by my height. So I get 16. So 48 times 16 should still give me 768 pi. And it's centimeters cubed. All right, I think I unplugged my microphone. Let's hope it's working now. Okay, all right, now we're going to finish off this page, hopefully without any more problems. We're going to find the volume of this cylinder with a cone on top. So the cylinder should be pretty easy. The radius of it is 5. So my base area, when I go to find the volume, it's going to be 25 pi. So that's 5 squared pi times the height of the cylinder is 13. And that gives me a total of 325 pi. The cone is a little bit more difficult. If I look at the cone here, I still know that the radius is the same, it's 5, but I need to find that height. And you see that this height is 13 and the whole height is 25. So the leftover is going to be 12. So 13 plus 12 should give me the total of 25. So when I want to find the volume of the cone, it's base times height divided by 3. The base area is still 25 pi. It's still this circle and this circle. Timesing by the height now in this case is 12, but don't forget to divide it by 3 because it's a cone. So I get 100 pi. And I'm going to total it up for a total of 425 pi centimeters cubed. Now moving on to the cylinder with now a hemisphere on top. Remember, hemisphere is half a sphere. So again, I know that the radius, is not 6. The radius of my cylinder is 3. So to find the volume of the cylinder, okay, to find the volume of the cylinder, I'm going to do the base area, which is 9 pi, times the height, 12. So I get 108 pi for the cylinder. And I'm going to find the volume of the hemisphere. So first I'm going to use the volume of a sphere. The volume of the sphere is 4 pi r cubed divided 3. So this is the volume of the cylinder, this is the volume of the sphere. So I'm going to do 4 pi times 3 cubed divided 3. And I get 36 pi. But recall I now have half a sphere, so I'm going to divide that by 2 for a total of 18 pi. I'm going to take the 18 pi and the 108 pi and add it together for a total volume of 126 pi. So clearly one of my answers is wrong. Or that volume. And now I'm going to go up top and find the surface area. So actually I'm going to erase this so we have some space to work with. So the surface area of this is going to have two-part thing. I'm going to first find the surface area of the sphere. This is just straight formula. The surface area of a sphere is 4 pi r squared. So I have 4 pi times 3 squared, which equals 36 pi. And I have half of that, so I'm going to divide it by 2. So the surface area of the sphere is 18 pi. And the surface area of the cylinder is a little bit trickier. I have a rectangle and I have a circle on the bottom. The radius of the circle is 3, so that's a total of 9 pi. The height of the rectangle is 12. And again, recall the length of the rectangle is the circumference of the circle, which is going to be 2 pi r. So I get 6 pi. And so I'm going to take 6 pi times 12. And get 72 pi. I'm going to take 72 pi for the rectangle, 9 pi for the bottom circle down here, and 18 pi for the hemisphere. Add it all up for a total of 18 plus 17. 99 pi. So again, apparently both my answers are wrong, so just ignore them. Right. think that finishes off the third page.